All right, there we are. We're live. Forge Gang! I'm still a hard man! Let's go! I am your host, Imperator of Forge, the leader of Forge Gang, and I'm going to be going over and giving my personal thoughts about Dragon Ball's first tournament arc. Sometimes it is just simply called the Tournament Saga. Other times it's called the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai. It is basically just the very first tournament that Goku and Krillin and Yamcha get into or get involved with and start fighting. So anyway, we're going to go over that. This is going to be from the manga. So this will not be the anime. It'll be only my personal thoughts from the manga. And so we'll go over it and just kind of talk about it for a bit. So, last time I did my personal thoughts on the Legend of Shenlong or the Son Goku arc or whatever. And my initial impressions were not really that great. I was not too impressed with the manga version of the Emperor Pilaf arc. So, how well does the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai stack up? This is going to be the manga version, so no anime. So anyways, this is right after the end of the Emperor Pilaf stuff. Goku goes to Roshi's Island and eats him out of house and home. Like, Goku just literally eats up everything in Roshi's house, eats him out of house and home. Pretty crazy. It's like Toriyama is still in the gag stuff. So it's interesting that he is still pushing around the gag shit, or the aspects of gag and comedy, but he's also much more focused on martial arts now. This is the first part of Dragon Ball where there isn't really nothing about the Dragon Balls. Like, nothing about the Dragon Balls. It's just the Turtle Hermit training, the Turtle Hermit Mutant Roshi style of training. So Goku has to go find this cute-looking, beautiful woman for Roshi, and it's kind of stale adult humor. Like, he finds a mermaid and a bunch of stuff, and then finally Krillin, who is an ex-shonen monk. Oh, you didn't know that Krillin was a Shaolin monk? Well, that's probably because you're not really a Dragon Ball fan. Okay, it's just being real. Dubtards are not real fans anyways, so forget about them. But anyways, Krillin is a Shaolin monk. He left the Orin Temple and he went to train with the Mutant Roshi, but Mutant Roshi has these very high standards, these very strong-ass standards for becoming his disciple. But because he had these very adult experiences with looking at Bulma's breasts in the first arc, the first story arc, and Bulma has gone back to West City with Yamcha and the others at this point, so Bulma is not with Goku anymore, so Roshi decides to substitute by them finding another woman. And There's a bunch of adult jokes and adult humor that plays into it. Um, I'm not for sure that I can really talk about it on YouTube. So, for the sake of not getting into too many details about it, Akira Toriyama was a gag mangaka artist, and he did a lot of adult humor themes. So, I mean, if you know anything about Akira Toriyama and his editors, that's what he did. So, Goku and Krillin, in order to be disciples of Mutant Roshi, they have to go find a very cute looking woman, and they run into Lunch. Now, in the anime, there's a whole bunch of scenes of Lunch robbing a train and stuff, but that's not what happens in the manga. Forget about that. In the manga, Lunch is already her blonde, badass self, and she's running from law enforcement. It just cuts right into her running from law enforcement, and she sneezes like she's going toe to toe with cops. And by the way, they're not Red Ribbon Army soldiers, they're just ordinary police. They are not the Red Ribbon. They have nothing at all to do with Red Ribbon. That's later. They're not Red Ribbon soldiers, they're just cops. She sneezes and changes back to her, like, innocent self or something. I don't know. She's like bipolar. Lunch, the thing about Lunch is she's like a character. She's like a character that, I don't know. Lunch is basically a character that for some reason Toriyama forgot about her. She does pop up in the Majin Buu arc when Goku is gathering ki or chi for the Genki Dama. And you see that blue-haired girl in the Buu arc. That's Lunch. She doesn't have a lot of appearances later in the show, but for those of you that are dubtards, that's actually Lunch. Anyway, so Goku jumps out and he does like his kung fu stuff, and it's still at a point where it's not serious martial arts and stuff. But Goku, being super strong and whatever, he defeats the cops and stuff and saves Lunch. And they ride on the Kento-un back to Roshi's Island, and presto, they become disciples of the Mutant Roshi. So, there's some stuff where they have Lunch train with them. Roshi likes to watch women that dance on television. He really likes to enjoy looking at women's bodily aesthetics a lot. I guess that's probably the most mild way to put that. But anyways, they have Goku. He has himself, Goku, Krillin, and Lunch dress up in these, like, leotards or something, and they're exercising. And then Lunch sneezes and turns back into her dark side and shoots them up with an Uzi. It's kind of funny. It's kind of like when Bulma finds out that Goku took off her panties and she showed more to the turtle hermit than she wanted to. So she took out her gun and shot it at Goku. And of course, Goku is very strong, so it just hurt him or whatever. That's kind of the same thing. Anyways, Roshi turns his house back into a capsule, and they move to a larger island where there's like 100-something people living there. It's kind of like the islands that 17 and Piccolo fight on later in the Cell arc or whatever, except there's houses and stuff. It's kind of like one of the islands that Cell blows up right before he fights Vegeta for the first time. It's kind of like that. There's a volcano and dinosaurs. So Goku and Krillin are disciples, and they start their training and whatever. Roshi shows them the turtle kanji, which is like the symbol of his dojo, his martial arts dojo or whatever. And Goku is able to recognize Roshi's scent, or the way that the mutant Roshi smells. And somehow he's able to find the rock with the kanji letter on it. And him and Krillin get into a fight, but Krillin tricks Goku with a fake. And Krillin technically wins, but Lunch used a blowfish to make stew for them to have dinner. And so Krillin, Lunch, and Roshi get like poisoned or whatever, and Goku starves. So a few days pass and they start their training. So this is kind of like something out of the Karate Kid, but they don't really learn like any particular martial arts. It's more of a gag where they're doing like milk delivery, and they're doing these really ridiculous things like running from Tyrannosaurus Rexes, walking, hopping, and skipping around long distances around the island, and going up stairways and stuff. I don't really see how that has anything to do with Goku and Krillin becoming stronger. They also do a running test and stuff, so Roshi is teaching them to go beyond their abilities, to become stronger, and ultimately to begin the process of gaining experience as martial artists, or to gain experience. I don't really see how milk delivery across a volcanic island is really going to make them the best martial artists in the world. But, oh yeah, Goemao and Grandpa Gohan had also trained with Roshi. They were disciples of Roshi's as well. I think I mentioned that in the Legend of Shenlong arc. Anyways, most of the Turtle Hermit training is rather boring. They're swimming in shark-infested lakes. I don't know how sharks are in freshwater lakes. They're running from dinosaurs, and they're doing like construction work with their bare hands. They're clearing out rice paddy fields without any equipment, just their bare hands, and they have to do it as fast as possible. And it's really just these very ridiculous, kind of almost comical, cartoonish things that they're doing and stuff like that. And it's just 2 chapters on their training. So anyways, we find out from some Buddhist monk at some high up temple in the mountains that Goku and Krillin, if they train hard enough, they can compete in the greatest under the heavens martial arts tournament. And yes, fucking dubtard. Yes, it is the same thing as the World Martial Arts Tournament. So, for you fucking dubtards, it is not actually the World Martial Arts Tournament. That's a mistake that the dub made. It is actually the greatest under the heavens martial arts tournament, where hundreds of martial arts artists compete in the preliminaries. 8 fighters get selected, and it just goes to the top from there. And the strongest martial artist who competes wins the title of world champion, and they get 500 Zen. Zen being the Japanese currency. Anyway, yeah, so Goku and Krillin really train hard for 8 months, and there's not really much to say about the Turtle Hermit training. They just do a lot of tasks, and they have to do basically very ridiculous feats and stuff, and like 5 months later, they're moving like these giant boulders or something, and somehow that proves that they've gotten stronger, and they have to wear turtle shells that weigh like 400 kilograms. Yeah, we could just skip that. 8 months pass. They're ready to go to the Tenkaichi Budokai, and this is when things really start to get more serious. There isn't much to really say about the first third of this arc. It it is not really something that you're going to want to go back and read to say it's some of the least interesting parts of the manga is like the 3 or 4 chapters or the 5 chapters of the Mutin Roshi's training, but regardless, Goku and Krillin do get stronger, and they do participate in the greatest under the heavens martial arts tournament, the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai, and martial artists from all over the world gather, like champion fighters gather and stuff, and the chapter on the preliminary rounds is just basically Goku and Krillin kicking ass, and Yamcha kind of just doing his thing. Yamcha does not really do much, and yes, it's the same Yamcha from the first arc, because Bulma, Puar, and Oolong are also watching. They don't really get the manga doesn't really get too much in with them. They're just side characters. Anyways, so Goku accomplishes amazing feats, and he literally has superior durability and strength and speed or whatever, and he makes it up to the 8 top champions for the tournament itself. Krillin kind of doubts his strength, and his first preliminary match is with another Shaolin monk from the same temple that he trained at. It was one of the people that bullied him or something, and that was one of the reasons why he fled his temple, Shaolin monk temple or monastery, and went to train under the Mutin Roshi. But surprise, surprise, Krillin does incredibly well and very easily defeats the bully, and they're gone. You never see them again. There's never any mention made about Krillin's Shaolin monk background. But if you didn't know, before Krillin met Goku and Roshi, he was a Shaolin monk. Um, don't don't try to go in chat and ask me about that. I mean, it is what it is. Anyways, Goku, Krillin, and Yamcha make it to the finals, and a few other characters make it to the finals, and they all pick their balls and stuff, and so the tournament is part of a temple complex. It's part of a like Shinto Buddhist temple complex that celebrates the heavens or whatever, and as part of the Buddhist shrine, Shinto shrines celebrations, once every 5 years they have 8 world champions from all over the world to come and participate. And it kind of looks like something out of a kung fu martial arts movie. It looks like they went to Cambodia or to Thailand. It looks, looking at the temples and the buildings and stuff, it kind of looks like something in Thailand or Cambodia. But anyways, the first match is Krillin fighting Bacterian. Now, this is actually the first fight that we actually see Krillin ever in the manga or the anime. And at first, Krillin is overwhelmed by the stench of Bacterian. Bacterian is spitting at him, he smells, and Krillin is overwhelmed and stuff, and it looks like Krillin is going to lose. But Goku tells Krillin that he doesn't have a nose, so he can't really smell it. Krillin takes that and uses it to his advantage, and a few punches later he defeats Bacterian and then proceeds to jump on his head and fart in front of him. And Bacterian passes out. And yeah, this is one of the weirdest fights I've ever seen. Supposedly, when this was animated, this actually is what made Dragon Ball popular. Because the word on the street was that Dragon Ball was going to be a gag anime and a gag manga like Dr. Slump. Yes, you heard it right. Originally, the concept was that Dragon Ball was going to be like a comical slapstick um, manga and anime with just some martial arts moves and a few adventures here and there. But as you know, it became something very different. Anyways, that fight was the Bacterian and Krillin fight is what brought the ratings back up on Dragon Ball for the first time, and that episode is what made Dragon Ball popular. So the second match isn't really much of anything. It's just Yamcha kicking and punching in the air at this guy called Jackie Chun, a very elderly senior man who is very nimble and fast, so fast that Yamcha can't even see him. And Yamcha does not even land a single thing at Jackie Chun. And Jackie Chun just flaps his hands in the air, and the current of the wind is so strong that it knocks Yamcha out. So there's still a comedy twist that's going on with this here. Akira Toriyama really loved watching The Drunken Fighter. That's a kung fu martial arts movie with Jackie Chan as the star, and it's called Drunken Fighter. And if you watch that movie and some other stuff that Jackie Chan plays in, a lot of the fighting moves and styles are from that movie. So the third fight is Namu, who is like this very stoic Buddhist from India or Nepal, and he's trying to get water for his village to save it, and he's trying to win the tournament to get money for the water and food for his village. And so Lin Fan basically plays him, and she tries to trick him, and she even strips. I can't go into too much detail, but there's some stuff about it that's kind of again, it's Toriyama being Toriyama. But anyways, Namu perseveres, and he fights on and just closes his eyes and kicks Lin Fan out of the ring or whatever, and she falls out of the ring. It loses, and then Goku is sleeping somewhere in a garden or something after he ate a bunch of food. Even back then, the trope of Goku eating gigantic, enormous amounts of food was really played up, especially in this. Goku is fighting this giant dinosaur called Gilen or Giren, and this is Goku's first major fight. Goku almost is actually kicked out of the tournament because he was sleeping, and he makes it just in the nick of time. So this is perhaps the first real fight of the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai. There isn't really much to say. It's just mainly them cartwheeling and Goku jumping around and trying to hit or attack from behind. Gielen blocking his attacks and stuff, and then most of the rest of it is just Goku throwing Gielen out of the ring, but he flies back because he has wings, and then he throws Goku out, but well, actually, he uses a some kind of gum that he pulls out of his mouth and puts around Goku to trap him, and it's just double Dumbo gum or some shit like that. He throws Goku out, but Goku uses the Kento Un to go back in, and then Gielen tries to throw him out again, but Goku grows back his tail. So, yeah, if you didn't know, Saiyan kids can grow their tails back. So Goku grows back his tail, and he breaks out of the gum, and then he kicks the side of a wall and completely breaks it up into rubble. And so Gillen surrenders. And then Roshi does like this pop music thing where he takes the microphone of the tournament announcer and he like sings like he's rapping. So you have Jackie Chun rapping and singing and stuff from like the dancing women, like the women dancing stuff that Roshi watches or whatever. And then they have Jackie Chun and Krillin fight, and it happens so fast that everyone misses everything. It happens in a split second. And so they have the tournament announcer pick up Roshi or Jackie Chun and Krillin, and he has to carry them on his back, and they have to explain to the audience everything that they did in that split second. They moved so fast that nobody could see what they were doing. And so there is that. And then finally, they get back into fighting, and there is actually a bit of martial arts and fighting that takes place in it. But Krillin throws panties at Jackie Chun. How Krillin knew that Jackie Chun would be a pervert and try to steal the woman's panties is beyond me. But Krillin throws women's panties out, and Jackie Chun tries to grab it, and Krillin kicks him right out of the ring. And he kicks him pretty far, but Jackie Chun fires a Kamehameha and flies right back into the tournament. So he doesn't get a knockout. Then he uses the after image technique and strikes Krillin on one of his nerve points, one of his critical points, and knocks him out. And that's how Jackie Chun wins. And Yamcha thinks that Jackie Chun is the mutant Roshi in disguise because he knows all of Roshi's techniques. So Goku fights Namu, and this is a pretty good fight. Actually, I would say that this is the best fight in the entire first tournament saga, is the fight between Goku and Namu. The Jackie Chun fight is more of a gag than anything, but they actually do have like a portrayal of Goku and Namu fighting and duking it out and like breaking down like the wall of bricks on the side of the ring and tearing shit up and a whole bunch of moves. And Goku is obviously stronger than Namu is, but Namu is pretty slick and is able to really hold his own. He does try to land a whole bunch of like fast ranging punches like in fists from the North Star at Goku, but Goku successfully blocks them. Goku tries to land some kicks and tries to go up behind Namu and do some stuff. And then Namu successfully, Goku, there's a scene where Goku goes into a human twister. He runs around like a twister, and he goes so fast that he almost knocks out Namu, but Goku gets dizzy and stops. And then Namu tries to knock him out of the ring, but fails because Goku uses his tail on Namu's leg and pulls himself back up into the ring. So Namu jumps up really high into the air. He jumps about 2 kilometers into the sky and then flies right down and lands directly on Goku without Goku blocking, but it doesn't hurt Goku. And so Goku then tries to do it, and Namu jumps, so At this point, Goku cannot fly. Okay? Goku does not know the technique of how to levitate at this point, and neither does Namu. Dubtard. So Goku and Namu jump up super high in the air. Goku can jump higher, apparently, than Namu, and they go right up into the clouds and they fight and exchange blows. But Goku lands sooner than Namu, and Namu thinks he's got Goku. But Goku does a back cart wheel, flips around, and hits Namu just as he's about to land and knocks Namu out of the ring. And that's how Goku wins. And then Namu finds out that Jackie Chun is Master Roshi. He's the only one that ever knows about Master Roshi's secret. And Roshi participated in the Tenkaichi Budokai in disguise to keep Goku and Krillin from winning, so that they will suspect that there is always a stronger opponent in the world, and they will continue to practice martial arts and get stronger. And Roshi gives Namu a special hoi poi capsule that allows him to collect a bunch of water to go feed the village. Namu also disguises himself as the mutant Roshi and is able to convince Yamcha that Roshi is actually in the audience when it's actually Namu, and basically Jackie Chun successfully fools Krillin and Yamcha. So in the finals take place. The two strongest warriors of the tournament, Jackie Chun and Goku, fight each other, and almost immediately, Jackie Chun kicks Goku like half a kilometer away from the tournament. And after just a couple of punches, Jackie Chun tricks Goku into jumping high up in the air. He kicks Goku out of bounds, but Goku uses his tail as a helicopter and basically glides back into the ring. And then Goku says that he could have just used the Kamehameha wave to get back. And Jackie Chun says that that's a bunch of nonsense. And so Goku and Jackie Chun both fire the Kamehameha. Now, this is a very important moment. This is the first beam struggle ever in Dragon Ball. Okay? The very first beam or Kai Blast struggle ever in Dragon Ball is between Goku and Master Roshi in the finals of the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai. So, you know how, like, Goku is using the Kaioken times 3 and fires a Kamehameha against Vegeta's Gallic Gun? Oh, you know how awesome that scene is? You like that scene a lot? Well, guess what, Dubtard? If it wasn't for that beam struggle between Goku and Master Roshi, there would have been no beam struggle between Goku or Vegeta. So remember that. Remember the significance of that. It might not seem like much, Dubtard, but it is. That is the first beam struggle. That is the first literal beam struggle in Dragon Ball. It is between Goku and the mutant Roshi. They both fire a Kamehameha directly at each other, and they push each other back. The force of the collision of the chi beams kicks and knocks both of them right on the ground, but not out of the ring. And I think the anime version is a little bit better. The anime version perhaps is better, but the manga does pretty good too. The way that Toriyama seems to draw the Kamehameha at this stage, it's yellow. Like in the manga, the Kamehameha is actually like a yellow and kind of a green color instead of a white and a blue. which is interesting because usually, the Kamehameha is white, but it's colored differently for some reason. It's like more yellow and green. Anyways, or a white and bright yellow instead of a white and blue kind of coloring. Anyways, Roshi uses the after image technique like he did with Krillin, and Goku thinks that he's got it figured out. But Roshi pulls off a double after image and strikes Goku from right behind the neck, causing Goku to fly right into the wall, and it cracks. Rocks fall right on top of him. He goes into a giant hole. It seems like it might be over, but Goku jumps right out and he's not hurt. His clothing is damaged, but he's completely unharmed. And so Goku does the triple after image technique, and this is kind of where the gag stuff comes into play. You have to remember at this stage that Akira Toriyama was not trying to do serious fights. It was still more of kind of a comical thing. Okay, hence Krillin trying to use panties to trick Jackie Chun. But anyways, Goku tries to use a triple after image, and he does take Jackie Chun off guard. But Jackie Chun eventually blocks, and then there are some exchanges of blows and stuff. It is a pretty cool fight. I do have to say that this is probably the first really complete, intense fight in Dragon Ball, is between Goku and Jackie Chun, and it's still comical. Jackie Chun is pretending to be drunk or under the influence of alcohol, and he's kind of gagging and dancing about and stuff, and takes Goku by surprise and knocks him and hits him and beats him up a few times. And then Goku does his own monkey fist, where Goku acts like a wild jungle monkey and jumps around and scratches Roshi or Jackie Chun and does a whole bunch of other things. Now, where the manga differentiates itself from the anime is they still do some other techniques. Roshi does like some kind of Ryo-kin technique, and this is taken from the movie Drunken Fighter starring Jackie Chan and a few other Jackie Chan movies from the days when he was a Hong Kong actor. So Roshi uses the Ryo-kin or the Drunken-kin. Goku uses the Snake-kin and the Monkey-kin technique. And then there's this joke where Goku uses something called the Kaioken, and it is not the Kaioken. It is not that Kaioken. It's just Goku basically jumping about real super fast like a speeding bullet and taking a few knocks and blows and stuff. He just punches really, really super fast, like Fists of the North, Raging Fist of the North Star type of fast display of moves and stuff. And there's a few exchanges of these different martial arts techniques and stuff. And it's pretty interesting. It's pretty epic. It is at this point that Jackie Chun actually mentions that he knew about Goku's late grandpa Gohan. Goku is actually very surprised about that. So Goku uses a technique that he used before when he fought Yamcha the first time. It's called the rock, paper, scissors kin, or rock, paper, scissors kin. Goku tries to exchange a set of blows where if it's paper, he does like a karate chop. If it's rock, it's a punch or a fist. Or if it's scissors, it's like he pokes him in the eyeball or something like that. But it turns out that Jackie Chun knows that technique, and he knows that Grandpa's son Gohan taught Goku that technique. And Goku is actually surprised that Jackie Chun fought grandfather Son Gohan many, many decades ago at some other fight. There's not a lot of details about it, but if you did not know because you watched the dub and you're probably a dub tard, uh, Grandpa Gohan and Goi Mao, the Ox King, Chi Chi's father, were disciples of Master Roshi, decades before Krillin and Goku were his disciples. Anyways, there's a bit more fighting that takes place, and then Jackie Chun uses a strange technique where he does like this kind of dancing display. It's like he's hypnotizing Goku, and he basically makes Goku fall asleep. Now, in the dub, it's called the Sleepy Boy technique. That is actually not the name of the technique. It's actually called something else. It is not that. It's just that's a dub-tard name. But the tournament announcer says that since it's a martial arts tournament, that hypnotism or like telekinesis are technically not fighting techniques. But Roshi hypnotizes Goku and he falls asleep. But regardless, the tournament announcer begins the count to 10. Bulma tells Goku that if he wins, he's going to get a huge reward of eating, and Goku wakes up from that. And so Goku trades a few more blows with Jackie Chun. Jackie Chun then uses the very technique that he actually used to defeat Grandpa Son Gohan all those years before this fight. He powers up his hands like they're magnets, and they become charged with flowing lightning bolts of electricity, and he fires them directly at Goku. And he basically electrocutes Goku and puts him up in the air and begins to electrocute Goku. And he tells Goku that if he says that he gives and accepts losing, that he'll stop electrocuting him because it is against the rules to actually Minecraft unalive someone, because then they will be disqualified from the tournament. But Goku is so strong. At this point, Goku is even stronger than his grandfather Gohan, and he actually lasts like 3 times as long as Grandpa Gohan did. And then Goku is about to say that he gives. Yamcha, Krillin, Bulma, and like the others have to convince Goku to give. Krillin tells him not to do it. But then Goku looks at the full moon and turns into the Great Ozaru. Oh, you remember the Great Ozaru? Yes, the Great Ape form. So Goku turns into a gigantic raging monkey beast once again, and he actually breaks out of the beam struggle that Jackie Chun used on him. And then Goku begins to... Now, technically, when Goku is a great ape, he actually does walk outside of the ring. So technically, Jackie Chun wins the Budokai at this point, because Goku is like pounding down a building or like a temple hut, and he picks up like a tower or the roof of a building and throws it over. And like there's mayhem and confusion and people are scared and stuff, and it's pretty crazy. So Yamcha wants to have Puar turn into a sword so they can cut Goku's tail off a second time. But instead, Jackie Chun takes off his jacket and he powers up to his full power. He builds up his muscles just like he did with Mount Frypan, and fires a maximum powered Kamehameha. All that is just the Kamehameha at full max. And there's a giant explosion, but nobody is able to see what happened. And so the giant ape, the great Ozaru, is gone, and they think that Roshi killed Goku. But Roshi points out that Goku is actually there by a pile of rocks or rubble, and he's back in his base form. And he points out that instead he blew up the moon. Now, the thing about this, I don't think that Roshi could actually destroy the moon. He's not even as strong as like the later fighters in Z. I think this is just more of a gag, and I get it. I understand if you're confused about how it is that Master Roshi could blow up the moon with one Kamehameha, and I think it's just a gag. So it's something that you're just going to have to laugh off. Roshi is not as powerful as Demon King Piccolo or Piccolo Daimao, and he is like leaps and bounds weaker than the Saiyans. So anyways, Roshi destroys the moon. Him and Goku resume their fight, but then Goku has to take a break to put on some new clothes. He gets Krillin's clothes, and Goku continues to fight and stuff. There's some exchange of blows again. Jackie Chun at this point is worn out, and he tries to fire a Kamehameha, but he can't do it because he's too tired from blowing up the moon. Also, the tournament announcer mentions, how is the Wolfman going to transform? Now, that is something for later. In the 22nd Tenkaichi Budokai, Jackie Chun actually does fight the Wolfman because the Wolfman cannot change back to normal because he blew up the moon. I'll tell you more about that when I cover the 22nd Budokai. So anyways, Goku fires a Kamehameha. Jackie Chun dodges it, but it looks like he fell out of the ring. But he kicked his foot right in the side of the ring, in the cement under the floor, and he jumps back into the ring, so it's not a fallout. So the fight continues, and in the anime, Goku and Roshi fight for like hours and hours until they're completely worn out. That's not the case in the manga. Right after that, Jackie Chun comes up with an idea to get Goku. He jumps real high in the air and performs a long kick, like a lunging kick, and Goku actually is foolish enough to copy it and do the same. And they both kick each other in the necks. However, Goku's legs are not as long as Jackie Chun's. So Goku gets hit even harder than Jackie Chun. They both land, and neither of them are able to get up and stand. So the tournament announcer counts to 10, and neither Jackie Chun nor Goku are still standing or saying that they give or anything. So it's decided that whoever can stand up first and smile and say that they are the champion or the champ, they win the Budokai. Goku kind of gets up a little bit first, and he does smile, but he just says, I am, and then passes out and falls asleep. So Jackie Chun gets up, smiles, and says that he's the champion, and he gets the 500,000 Zen and becomes the world martial arts champion. So, can you believe it? The first greatest under the heavens world martial arts champion is Jackie Chun. and Goku comes out second, and there's actually some clapping and applause for Goku, who is the runner up of the greatest under the heavens martial arts tournament. So, at the end of the day, Master Roshi accomplishes his goal. He did not want Krillin or Goku to win the Tenkaichi Budokai because they would become egotistical and they would not continue their training. So that was Roshi's goal the entire time. That's why Master Roshi fought in the Tenkaichi Budokai under disguise. So he changes back into Roshi. He used super glue to put this wig on his head, and he used like a special cologne so that Goku would not be able to smell his scent. And Bulma, Oolong, Puar, Yamcha, Krillin, and Goku are having trouble finding Roshi. They do find Roshi, and Bulma is able to get them to go eat out. It's interesting that they never seem to find out how Master Roshi got all that money or Zen to feed Goku and the others at dinner. So even though Goku did not win the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai, the 21st greatest under the heavens martial arts championship tournament, he does get Master Roshi to spend over half the prize money essentially feeding him at some restaurant, or like some kind of Thai or Cambodian restaurant, or Vietnamese restaurant, and Goku eats very exceptionally well. And it's an ongoing gag about how Goku eats up a whole bunch of food. So there's some talking and stuff, and Roshi is asking Krillin and Goku about what they're going to do now. Roshi tells them that now they need to Roshi gives Goku and Krillin this big prep speech about how they have a lot to learn and they still have a lot of training to do before they become the strongest martial artists in the world, or the strong martial artist period, and become martial arts masters. And he says that the entire world is full of martial artists who are even stronger than they are, and even stronger than Jackie Chun. So that's some good prep talk. I gotta give it to Akira Toriyama. Back then, he really actually did try to make the story interesting. It's not like in the Majin Buu arc, where the story is really not that good, and he's just throwing a whole bunch of stuff up against the wall, and just kind of hoping to what sticks in the Majin Buu arc. But at this stage, Toriyama and his editors are really trying to make a compelling story. And they do kind of okay, but anyways, Krillin decides to go back with Roshi and continue his training, although he's really not necessarily training like before. It's just more of an independent training thing where he's teaching himself how to fight. Goku decides that he will pursue his own personal training by searching for his grandfather's 4-star Dragon Ball that he had at the beginning of Dragon Ball when he went on his first journey with Bulma. And after Shenlong, the dragon god, granted Oolong his wish, you remember the Dragon Ball scattered and turned to stone. So it has now been 1 year, so it is now possible for Goku to use the Dragon Radar to detect the Dragon Ball signals. So Goku decides to go on a new quest by himself, and Yamcha and especially Bulma and Oolong are actually kind of worried about Goku going on his own solo to go find his grandfather Gohan's 4-star Dragon Ball. Now, please understand, Goku is not searching for the 7 Dragon Balls. He is only searching for the 4-star Dragon Ball because it belonged to his grandfather Gohan. That is all he is doing. But regardless, this is how Goku starts his second adventure. So Bulma shows Goku how to use the Dragon Radar. Goku gets on the Kento-Un. Roshi gives him his stuff that was in his briefcase, including his Noibo, which belonged to his grandfather. He gets on the Kento-Un, and everybody says goodbye and stuff. Now, in the anime, in the Dragon Ball anime, this happens right where the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai happened, and it's right where Goku and Jackie Chun fought each other, and it's during the daytime. In the manga, it happens the very night after they finish eating. Right after they're done with dinner, it is still nighttime. Goku is already on the Kento-Un and is about to go off on his new adventure. It's nighttime, and they're not at the tournament place. They're nowhere near it. They're in the same city that the tournament was hosted, but they're in like a city park. They're basically in like a parking lot or something like that. And Goku says goodbye and he flies off, and it's night. Now, right fast. In the anime, there is a filler episode where Bulma and Yamcha, Puar, and Oolong, they get stuck in the desert and they have to find gasoline and stuff. And Goku helps Namu go up river to Gilan's place. And Goku blows up this dam and stuff, and he helps Namu get water for his village. And Goku is sniffing around for a lake and stuff. That is a filler episode, and that is not in the manga. That is a filler episode, and that never takes place in the manga. All right, so with that said, that is the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai Saga, or the first tournament saga. Some people just say the tournament saga, others say the Jackie Chun saga, or the Mutant Roshi training saga, or, whatever. I'm just going to call it the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai Arc, and leave it with that. Anyways, I thought it was pretty good. The training, the part of the training was not really that impressive for me. I found that to be quite boring, and when I was reading through that, I almost gave up and quit. That was the only time I really seriously considered just quitting out of boredom. But I understand that, Toriyama has to show them training and stuff to prepare for the tournament and whatnot. The preliminary rounds were okay. The quarterfinals were really kind of a joke. I found to be more of a gag than actual fighting. The semifinals were decent. I really liked the Namu and Goku fight. And the Goku and Jackie Chun fight in the finals was a little bit over the top for me. I found it to be kind of ridiculous. Like, just by complete chance, he grows back his tail, and it's a full moon, and he turns into an Ozaru. And Master Roshi is nowhere near as strong as Demon King Piccolo is. I don't even think at this point he's as strong as Tambourine. And he can already blow up the moon. I find that to be kind of ridiculous. So, on the whole, it was pretty entertaining. Now, later on, the later tournaments are going to be a lot better. Okay, the tournaments that I'm going to cover, the Tenkaichi Budokais that happened later, are going to be a lot more interesting and better than this. This is just kind of a first, so because this is the first tournament arc, and this is actually them fighting and doing martial arts. I'm pretty impressed with it, but at the same time, I don't really see how Roshi could destroy the moon with one Kamehameha wave, and I don't see how that's possible or realistic. So I give the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai Arc a 5 out of 10. I give it a 5 out of 10, maybe a 6 out of 10. It's not bad. The Emperor Pilaf or the first Dragon Ball hunt just it started off good, but it just got bad. Like Shenron was just so unimpressive and it was just so stupid. The way that they portrayed Shenron in that first arc. So the Tenkaichi Budokai part of it was still a little bit ridiculous, and there's a lot of lackluster in this early arc, but it is the first Kamehameha beam struggle. It is Goku actually using fighting techniques and not just basically joking off and stuff. And it is them actually fighting and doing actual fight scenes. And the way that Toriyama draws up the fight scenes and the exchange of melee blows and attacks is very good. It's some of the best. It's some of the best early on in the manga. Some of the best. Most of the fighting matches are kind of short and not really that important. But the Goku and Jackie Chun fight is really good. It really is a pretty good match. As you will find out later as I continue on my reviews of each arc, it's going to get much better. Okay. At this point, I wouldn't even try to take the Ki Blast seriously. Most of this is just melee fights or melee attacks and different fighting techniques. And it's just Toriyama trying to find his place in this new storyline. So anyways, I give the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai a 6 out of 10. It's a fairly decent arc, and if you want to start the Dragon Ball manga, if you want to start reading the Dragon Ball manga and stop being a dubtard, and you don't want to read the Emperor Pilaf arc, you can just start with this. The Turtle Hermit training with Goku and Krillin and the 21st Budokai is the perfect place to start. If you don't want to read the first part of the manga, but you could start there. But I mean, if you're going to start with Raditz, you're a dubtard and you're not a Dragon Ball fan. Any dubtard is not a real Dragon Ball fan. Like, you're not a fan. Okay? You have to at least read the Dragon Ball manga once from start to finish. And no, you don't start with the Saiyans. You start where the manga actually began. If you are really a serious Dragon Ball fan, then you will appreciate everything that Akira Toriyama did, including the very first adventures that Goku underwent. So anyways, next time I will cover the Red Ribbon Army arc. The next time that I do my reviews, I will cover the entire Red Ribbon Army arc, and next Friday, I'm going to do Goku fighting Muscle Tower. Goku is going to take on Ninja Murasaki, not to be confused with Mercenary Tao, that comes later. Goku will fight Ninja Murasaki, Colonial Silver, Bouillon, Artificial Human or Genzo Ningen number 8, and General White. It happens in the far north, and Goku assaults a military tower and basically saves a village and stuff and makes new friends. And I will be covering the beginning of the Red Ribbon Army arc next Saiyan Fridays. I will see you there. All right. at third four, they should make a prequel series with Roshi and Grandpa Gohan as young adults. Third four, Master Roshi is like 370 something years old. He was already like 200 something years old when Grandpa Gohan was just a kid or a young adult. Master Roshi is like 350 years older than Grandpa Gohan was. And Grandpa Gohan was like 60, 70 something years old when he passed away. People really underestimate just how old Roshi is. Roshi was already hundreds of years old when Grandpa Gohan and Goemao were young adults. But yeah, that would be interesting, third four. That would be very interesting to see. Dubs are epic. Third four dubs are epic. No, they're not. Like, no, they're not, dude. There's very few dubs that are actually worth their salt. Third four says Goku should have used Ultra Instinct in this fight with Jackie Chun. Well, the fact of the matter is that Ultra Instinct is a god technique. It's a technique that even the gods of destruction have trouble learning and mastering from the angels of the universe. So, Goku at this point is most definitely not going to use Ultra Instinct. And out of universe, this is 1985, okay? Akira Toriyama, Dr. Slump is still on television when Akira Toriyama is drawing up these chapters. Okay? Nobody had any idea what was going to happen decades later. Ultra Instinct is a product like Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan. That's a product of the revival era of Dragon Ball. That's decades away from when the manga was made. So that's a dubtard thing to say, third four. Like, seriously, that's a very dubtard thing to say. Are you a dubtard, 3-4? You sound like you might be a dubtard. Alright, third four says, who is stronger, Jackie Chun or Mr. Satan? Jackie Chun is much more stronger than Mr. Satan. Jackie Chun would be a lot more stronger than Mr. Satan. Okay, why are you talking about Mr. Satan? That has nothing to do with this arc. Third four says Chun won. Yes, he did. A 6 out of 10 is fair. Yeah, it's not a bad arc. It's just not the best. Third four, it is not the best arc. At this point, Toriyama was still really finding his way in this thing. If you read the interviews and like the questionnaire that Toriyama gave to readers at the end of each manga, he still really did not yet know where he was going to go with the Dragon Ball manga. If it was going to be a comedy, a gag thing, purely gag, if it was going to be like more just focused on martial arts, you know, is Goku going to be replaced by another protagonist? You know, where this is going to go. But yeah. Third four, Shaggy wanted to be the next Emperor Pilaf. You know what, third four? I believe you. I actually believe that you might be right. Now, Shaggy doesn't have blue skin like Pilaf does. The thing about the manga version of Pilaf is that Akira Toriyama just threw Pilaf, Soba, and Mai into the last part of the first arc, just to kind of use them as a way to finish the arc. I don't really think that Akira Toriyama was going to have Emperor Pilaf back in the manga or the anime, and it was actually the animation staff that reused Emperor Pilaf in filler episodes. I don't think that Akira Toriyama ever planned on having Emperor Pilaf, Soba, and Mai come back after the first Dragon Ball hunt. Let's see here. Live by the code. JV says, Forge! How are you doing, Code of Truth? Third Force says, could Mercenary Tao beat Great Ape Kid Goku 1v1? So in the Saiyan or the Vegeta arc, when Vegeta transforms into an Ozaru, he says that it increases a Saiyan's power by 10 times. Now, Vegeta was a Saiyan elite, and he could control and utilize to its fullest the Ozaru form. Goku has no control and therefore probably could not become 10 times stronger as an Ozaru. And at this stage, Goku is not even as strong as he is when he fights Mercenary Tao the first time. So, probably no. I think it would be a pretty long run, but I think that Tao could defeat Great Ozaru Kid Goku at this stage. 21st Tenkaichi Budokai, but Mercenary Tao 3-4 is not going to participate in the tournament, okay? Mercenary Tao is a murderer, okay? He is assassin for hire, and he's not going to go and enter the tournament. Now, he does later to get revenge on Goku and Ten Shenhan. He does enter the tournament later, but at this stage, Tao is just an assassin for hire, and he's not going to enter the World Martial Arts Greatest Under the Heavens martial arts tournament. But yeah, to answer your question, yes, Tao could fairly easily defeat Great Ozaru Kid Goku in the 21st Budokai. Goku is nowhere close to Tao's power or abilities at this stage. As Goku travels the world and fights the minions of the Red Ribbon Army and fights with General Blue, he gets stronger. It's even mentioned that as Goku keeps fighting, he gets stronger. So Goku, when he fights Tao, is stronger than he was after he fought Jackie Chun in the tournament. So yes, Tao could probably defeat Great Ozaru form Goku. Third Force says, I agree, not the best or worst arc. Yeah, I think it's about like the Garlic Jr. filler arc. I would say it's kind of like, you know, the Otherworld tournament arc where Goku fights Paikuhan after the Cell arc. That's kind of how I think of the 21st Budokai arc. Actually, the way that they have that filler arc where Goku and Paikuhan are fighting through the Otherworld fighters and stuff, that actually is kind of a gag thing. And the Soyochi Budokai arc, the Otherworld tournament arc, kind of reminds me a lot of this one. There's a lot of commonalities. So the 21st Budokai is not a bad arc. It's definitely something to go and watch if you want to watch the anime. Or if you want to read the manga, definitely read through it. It's very fun and enjoyable. It's a good story. It's a much more better story than the Emperor Pilaf arc before it. But of course, the Red Ribbon Army arc is just ahead. Join me next Saiyan Fridays for Goku versus the Muscle Tower. On the whole, the 21st Tenkaichi Budokai Arc is a good arc. Very well drawn, very well displayed, nice portrays of fights and martial arts display. Not really the best storyline. Not really the best storyline, and I just I don't see how Roshi could blow up the moon, and I don't see how Roshi I can't see Roshi at his battle power being able to destroy the moon. Not happening. Anyways, I've been your host, Imperator of Forge, and thank you for watching. Forge Gang! I'm still a hard man! Stay hard!